Hey, what's up, everybody? Just wanted to check in since I did not get on the phone today. I wanted to talk to everybody a little bit about why, because my goal was to get on the phone every day this week. But so yesterday I said that I had made the biggest sale I'll probably make in my life, which was convincing my wife that I should leave my job and do this stuff full time. And I had what I didn't figure out until like this afternoon. It was a nightmare. I had a dream that I'd quit my job and my business was failing and I was getting really depressed again. And then I woke up and it felt real still, and it felt real like all day. And that like completely shook me. Which is really weird for me because I usually don't dream, and I'm usually fairly mentally tough, but I don't know, it really it's crazy how much it got to me. So I pop open YouTube here, make sure nobody's chit-chatting at me. So yeah, it was kind of weird, absolutely, but I think the craziest part for me was just how the feelings stuck with me like all day long. That I really felt like I had already failed. So I've been, I went for a run today, I ate well, got my head right, did some design work, and I'm planning out tomorrow, so it'll be a better day. But, I think my, days off are days off, you gotta do what you gotta do. And I think what would probably be the most helpful is to really do some fear setting now that I'm here, and say to myself, what is the worst thing that could happen, really? Because the worst thing that could happen is I have to get a job bartending, which I don't make a lot of money right now at my job. So if I bartend, I'll probably make as much as I do at my job. It's not going to be a huge change. And more importantly, we've made it on one income in this household before. We're in the same position we were when we did that the last time. If not, actually, we're a little bit better off, of course, because I'm making side money, my wife's making side money, we both have higher incomes, so it's not like we're going to starve. It's still scary. It's still crazy. I have an employee. And I'm still completely spooked by the idea of doing this. I'll change the name of the stream. Sure. That sounds good. But, I wanted to make sure I did something today, besides have my designer work on some client sites and feel sorry for myself. Because that's pretty much where I was at. But, I talked to my group, talked to my wife, all very helpful. Just stuff like this happens. You get shook, you get scared, you get overwhelmed. And I think probably what I need to learn from this is that you just gotta forgive yourself. You just gotta forgive yourself. There's nothing wrong with getting scared. There's nothing wrong with getting overwhelmed. And when you do, you just say, okay, that happened. No big deal. And you just move on to the next day, you know? It'll be the same, there'll be more people on planet Earth for me to sell to tomorrow. So as long as it's not a habit, and I'm getting the work done, it just is what it is. Another thing that I talked a lot about today in light of this, because I envisioned it as kind of like a snowball problem, is my fear of working at home alone again. Because I worked at home for about a year the last time I tried this, made some money, but was just really depressed the whole time. Because even though I like the quiet at my office, like I have the most quiet office in the world, like maybe 3 people talk to me all day. But even so, it gets lonely when you're just at your house by yourself, you know, and no people talk to you all day. So I'm worried about that. I'm worried about falling into just being bummed out because I'm alone all the time, just making phone calls to people who yell at me and say no. You know, so that's a real concern. You know, I would hate to jump out of my job with all this gusto, and you know, it's not even, I guess, the financial stuff, really, because I'll make it work. We've made it work before, my wife and I. It's not a big deal. The bigger thing seems to be how am I going to feel mentally? How do I make sure that I'm mentally strong every day? You know, not only so that I can make money, but also so that I just feel good. I feel healthy. Because, you know, when I wrote out kind of like my values, my list of values, number 1 is health. And oftentimes to me that meant more physical than mental in the past. But nowadays I think it's health, mental first, physical second. So with that in mind, that really means that I should be most focused on making sure that I feel okay. You know, and sometimes that does mean pushing through a little bit of the blues to make sure I get work done so that I break the cycle. You know, it means going for a run, it means this, it means that. But how do I need to put some processes in place or figure out some stuff that, you know, is mandatory, not because this feels nice, or, you know, this would be nice to have, or anything like that. It has to be because it's what makes me feel good, and that's what makes me perform, because that's important. So, you know, I'm having a hard time bridging that gap mentally. And what I mean by that is, when I don't work during the workday, like if I take a day off, let's say, like legitimately, and let's say from my real job, whatever that means, and I just like loaf around the house, I feel guilty and stressed and depressed the whole day. Like it's counterproductive. I would have felt better if I'd gone to the job. Even if I'm sick as a dog, if I stay at home, I feel atrocious. So with that in mind, you know, I need to mentally switch gears so that I understand in my heart that, like, if I need to go outside and go for a run, it's not only okay, it's necessary. It's part of the workday. if I need to take a break and go to Harbor Freight to look at tools for an hour, it's part of the workday. Because it's hard to just sit in the house and work for 8 hours and wait for your family to come home. It is. It's hard to just sit here and work with nobody else around and just like a podcast to listen to if you're not phoning. It doesn't do your brain any favors. So a lot of people think it'd be nice to work from home and everything else, but I'll tell you now, like, it's shockingly depressing to just like work at the house with nobody around. So I've been looking into like co-working spaces and stuff, but the closest one is a 35-minute drive away, and it's like I didn't leave my job with a 30-minute commute to have another job with a 30-minute commute. So maybe work in a coffee shop in the morning and write. And this is all stuff I'm going to test. I'm going to take some time off next week from my job, which I still haven't quit, and just kind of try and get a feel for what will work best for me mentally and find a good mix. So I think probably, because Monday Sophie will be home just with me. So I'll work at the house that day, kind of just dealing with Sophie. Tuesday is all me, by myself. So I think on Tuesday I might like go to Starbucks, have a coffee, sit down with the laptop and just like build a lead list, for an hour or two, until 10 or something, then drive home at 10 o'clock or walk home if it's a nice day. And then when I get home, make my calls, and then maybe go out again in the afternoon, and spend another hour or two out there doing follow-up emails, just to be out of the house for the whole time. So maybe the house is only for calls. That might work really well. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think that might make me feel good. Just out of the house, in the house, out of the house, in the house. Change up my locations, stop at different spots. If I have to drop Sophie off, I can stop at the coffee shop that's right next to her school. There's a lot of options for stuff like that. And paying $1 for a coffee and then just working in a space is really not the worst idea. Because it's expensive for co-working space. They charge like $25 a day. And it's like for a desk. Like, aren't coffee shops nicer? They have coffee. Just saying. So, yeah. I think I need to try something like that. Just sitting in the house will kill you. That's what I learned. So, coffee shop. Come home, make calls. Back to the coffee shop. Grab my daughter. Yeah, makes sense. So those are my thoughts. Gonna do some follow-up emails, build a bigger lead list to call tomorrow. Gonna get on the phones tomorrow, do some more prospecting, do some follow-up. I might post that, I might not. I'm thinking probably not, because I'm going to be trying to book a lot of appointments. I might be talking about some private information with some clients. So I'll probably be on with another recap video like this tomorrow, go over how the day went. I'm hoping to book 2 or 3 appointments tomorrow, whether it's stuff that's already in the pipe or brand new stuff. That would get me kind of on pace, for the week. I wanted to do 10 appointments this week. And realistically I already have 5 or 6 in the 7. I have some in the pipeline already that just need to be booked. So, I'd feel okay if I got like 5 or 6 booked out this week. So those are the goals. Just need the activity. So I'll be making that happen tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, 24/7. Thanks for listening.